First, I just want to really thank Dr. Chris Lee and this platform, which I think is super cool that you're inviting an artist today. And while I haven't been able to participate live for all of them, I've certainly been watching the archives and they're really amazing. So thank you for the invitation. So I'm just going to do a really quick background for people who don't know me, don't know my work. I'm an interdisciplinary artist and I primarily work in film, video installation, performance, and sound. My work is usually large scale. When I say video installation, I'm talking about multiple large scale projections that are choreographed in a way that become immersive for the viewer. In the course of making my work, I've had the honor of working with institutions like NOAA and NASA. I'm currently in the process of working on a project with CERN, which has now become kind of a distance project, unfortunately, but we're hoping that at some point that'll become a physical realized project. I have worked with neuroscientists and aerospace engineers and a robot named Shimon. In the production of my work, I've been able to travel to produce the work, including spending a couple months in the high Arctic of Svalbard via the Arctic Circle residency, which is an amazing program. And I've gone to Mars, or at least as close as one can get these days. I filmed inside of active volcanoes in Indonesia and in areas of conflict in the Horn of Africa. And I've had to learn some new skills along the way, like how to film from the back of a camel, riding forward, sideways, backwards, and how to film inside of a spacesuit, which is not easy because of the gloves and the helmet. I've also learned how to intubate and extubate, which unfortunately are skills that, who knew would become so apt during a pandemic. And I've also been trained to suture in microgravities. But all of this is really in pursuit of trying to understand how individuals define a sense of themselves, the why of the why, who we are and how we are in this world. Today I'm going to talk to you about two specific projects that I'm working on. One of them is a performance. For over 20 years, my day job was making prosthetics and orthotics until I became a self-supporting artist. And then once I became a self-supporting artist, my interest in that technology sort of felt like fair game to go back and re-examine. And the technology was changing drastically over the years, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence. And so I started by accessing friends, people that I knew. This is Jason Barnes, and Jason's a drummer. He lost his arm in a workplace accident. And with the help of Gil Weinberg at Georgia Tech, they built a prosthesis that has not just one stick, obviously, but two sticks. And one stick Jason controls, and the other has artificial intelligence and aural input. So it can hear what Jason is playing, and then it improvises off of him. I also worked with Brian Reynolds, who is he's the world record holding bilateral amputee marathon runner. And Brian, for the performance, we asked Brian to run on a treadmill and then mic'd his running blades so that Brian became a percussive element in the performance. We also tried to collect Brian's biometrics and translate that both into sound and visual imagery. But Brian is so absolutely fit that I had him run at the fastest speed on the treadmill and the highest incline for as long as I could. I was just like, for days, just run, and his biometrics didn't change at all. So I need to find a different performer for that, for the biometric collection. Another participant in the performance or collaborator is Mary Esther Carter, who's an amazing singer, dancer. With Georgia Tech, we built an AI entity that then collaborated and sang a duet with Mary. And the entity was trained on Mary's voice, but was actually built and inspired by my Aunt Anne, who was severely autistic and obsessive compulsive. And I was interested in what if you build an AI that is not built around neural normalcy? And we're looking at increasing semantic knowledge so that there's emotional input and output. Right now, AIN can vocalize but not speak language, which is what was the condition of my aunt. She had apraxia. But we're in the process of expanding this performance and developing new features. And I'm going to show you just a quick excerpt from it. My current project, so that's the performance that I'm working on. I'm also currently working on a film, and the film was launched kind of literally on March 6th. I was able to send 3 minerals up to the International Space Station. This is through a program with MIT Media Lab's Space Exploration Initiative. And I was one of a number of artists that was selected to send work up to the ISS. What I sent, actually, so the payload that we sent all our projects on was built with 3 different levels, each one having a different gravitational field, so that one stayed benign, and so it was 0 gravity, and the other 2 rotated with centripetal acceleration, so that they mimic lunar gravity and Martian gravity. So I was able to take a lunar meteorite that was found in the Sahrawi refugee, outside the Sahrawi refugee camp in Western Sahara. It's a way for the refugees to supplement income, is to find meteorites and minerals and then sell them. And this, I was able to send this lunar meteorite back up into space and re-experience lunar gravity, even though it's not possible for the Sahrawi to return to Western Sahara. I've also been participating in and filming Mars simulation missions around the globe. These are simulations run by everything from NASA to SpaceX to Elon Musk, and they bring together international groups of scientists to conduct research in analog environments on Earth, and in the hope of one day being able to do the same on Mars. And on one of these missions, I found a mineral that, while not Martian regolith, has properties that potentially could be a Mars rock. And so I refer to it as my Mars wannabe rock. And this, I was able to send my Mars wannabe rock up into space, and it experienced Martian gravity for the very first time. And then the last mineral I sent up was a mineral from my grandfather's collection. My grandfather was an amateur mineral collector who developed Alzheimer's disease when he was in his late 70s, early 80s. And long after he could remember any family member, he could tell you really specific details from minerals in his collection. And so there were these moments of presence and, you know, the vast sea of loss that's Alzheimer's. And I was able to take that mineral and send it up to the ISS, and it became weightless. So these minerals went up to the ISS, and I thought that was the end. You know, that would be the ending of my film. And the film would be the backstory of how each one of these minerals was collected. There was no guarantee they'd come back. Things were, you know, things are always uncertain in space, and certainly uncertain right now. But then they came back, and they came back like a month and a half later to a completely changed world. And, you know, while the ISS was orbiting over the Earth 16 times a day, the coronavirus was, you know, spreading across the Earth below, 64 miles below. And so now this project has become the open-ended, I don't know where it's going kind of project. I can't not address what's happening here on the Earth, and so I continue to address it. And then SpaceX set up another launch, and it was the first personed launch to go from U.S. soil for many years, and so it was a big deal for space geeks like myself. And but the rocket took just about 9 minutes to leave Earth's gravity and become weightless. And that was about the same amount of time that police officers' knee pressed down on George Floyd's neck to kill him. I think technology is amazing. I think we as humans can, we hold the ability to be extraordinary, and yet we are, there is the best and the worst of us. We all embody it, some more than others. And so this project continues to move forward in ways that I can't even anticipate, because I can't anticipate tomorrow. I am happy to answer any questions if anybody has them, or discuss anything.
Anisha, I'm from Niwot, Colorado. And the minerals that went up in space, was there any noticeable change or effects that space had on those minerals?
There actually was not any change to the minerals. I didn't expect them to change. Some people have sent biomatter that would clearly be affected by time in different gravities or lack of gravity. And I think the changes that have been recorded by astronauts, that's amazing. I mean, there's telomere growth. We're changing down to our DNA level by extended time and space. But these minerals I knew would be benign and not, because there wasn't biomatter, and not be affected in that way. So for me, it was really more a romantic gesture. But then I thought it was interesting that, so that the virus is spreading below, the minerals stay stable. There are very few places where humans exist and the virus doesn't, and the ISS is one of those places. And then the minerals have come back to Earth, and yet they're in quarantine. They're being quarantined in Houston at a NanoRacks facility, because humans can't go in. They don't want to contaminate the research that actually needed data, that needed data collection after. So it's a different ending, or a new beginning to this project that was unexpected.
Very, very general question. How do artists contribute, or how do you as an artist contribute to scientific research? Very, very general.
That's a question I think about often, because my work is often in collaboration with scientists. And right now I'm in a collaboration with a theoretical mathematician, a particle physicist, and CERN. And we talk about this a lot, because I think historically the interaction between the arts and the sciences are often artists, gleaming information. I jokingly call us vampires in that kind of situation. But there are a couple of things that I've noticed through my collaborations with scientists, is that we give each other access in an interesting way. So the Arctic Circle program, that sends artists and scientists up to the Arctic, it's an artist-led expedition. And so the scientists that are on board are often doing research that are outside of what would be funded by the NSF. Or, so it gives them access to a region for research that they wouldn't have normally. One of my projects, I worked with a neuroscientist who was from Iran, and the project ended up being exhibited around the world at universities and institutions, and she was able to use it as documentation for her thesis. I think we give each other unexpected opportunities I also think that proximity, which, you know, we're all missing now, but when you rub up against each other in a day-to-day conversation, you do influence each other in some ways. I'm really eager to try and pursue it in a deeper level and see if arts can contribute in a more substantial way to scientific research. And what I can say is these are my experiences so far. I'll let you know if I can contribute with a different kind of rigor in the future.